Okay, with the creative team of The Last Reckoning feature film, Play It Wild Sound, we got Garnet, who is the director. We got Grant, who is the producer and the writer. Really well. I like this film a lot. Good job. Like that's all I have to say. It's like it's good to, as a fellow Canadian. It's good to see a nice independent Canadian feature that people got together. They had some money and they not that much money, but they threw it all together with their creativeness and they told a good story and it just makes me happy. That's just my comment.
Awesome. Good to hear.
So Grant, you wrote the screenplay and you produced it. So let's talk about the origin story of this screenplay. When did you kind of come up with this idea? When did it kind of take place for you?
Well, it's an adaptation of two plays, and the backstory is I have two kids, and their mom is from Japan,
Okay.
and I just got notice back in 2004. I'm taking the kids for spring break, and I'm taking them for 6 weeks. I'm like, 6 weeks? What am I going to do? Do you want me to come? No, you're not welcome. I'm like, okay, 6 weeks at home, and I didn't have a full-time job at the time, and I had this inkling that I might, if I work fast, be able to tap into a little bit of private money. And so I called Garnet up. I said, I guess we're going to make a movie. And at that point, I didn't know what to do. I just thought, here's an opportunity. I got to go for it. So Garnet's like, well, just do one of your screenplays. Because at that point, I'd already written 7 feature screenplays. I'm like, I'm not rushing one of those babies. No way. He says, well, I'm sure you'll come up with something. So I went to the library and just started looking at public domain plays. And of course, Shakespeare and things like that come up. But these two plays came up. It's called The Reckoning. And then the other one is The First and the Last. That was a 40-minute play out of England. And The Reckoning is a 20-minute play out of the US. And I just thought, well, I'm going to dovetail these two stories. I think they can work. And then we'll just sort of contemporize it. But as you probably noticed with some of the dialogue, not too much. We wanted to kind of give it an ode to that time period.
Yeah.
And so that's how we came up with it. Yeah. Just
That's
added some cinematic filler in here and in there and tightened up the story.
yeah. That's a crazy story. So then it's your wife who took your kids for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
She's the reason why this film was made.
I guess you could say that. I've been wanting to make a feature with Garnet for a while, like years and years, but it just seems like, life is so hard,
Yeah.
living your dream and paying for a household, and I just seized the day.
You did. Yeah, and a lot of people would have just chilled back and watched Netflix for 6 weeks. And you got a film. But I love the idea of how you just like took like public domain plays and you kind of put it together and you kind of gave it your own. That's a great story too. That like I wonder why people don't do that more often.
Yeah. Well, I thought it would be a race to see who could get it out first because one of them was just going public domain.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and the nice thing about those kind of stories is they've already been proven
Yeah.
in that they've had audiences like 100 years ago, and there was something about the story that grabbed people back then.
Yeah.
And the best stories will always be more timeless. If I write something, heck, people are still reading it 100 years from now. That'd be amazing.
Mhm.
So that's like one good thing for, any other filmmakers out there to tap into proven stories.
Because humans haven't changed emotionally that much. The technology has changed, things have changed, but we as humans we're still flawed. We still make the same mistakes. We still had thematically it resonates. The film resonates than it probably did 100 years ago as well. Right?
Yeah, and little did we know that just the times that we're coming into now, even after the film was done, this whole themes of justice and powerful men and women having to, pay account. Maybe they got away with stuff for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And now it becomes public and someone's going to pay. Justice, will catch up to you. As most recently, and around the globe, we've had these scandals emerge of powerful people having to pay the price,
Not
and they
yet.
thought they got away with it.
The one you're talking about, not yet. It's just like they've been exposed, but they haven't paid any price yet. But I understand.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying. I'm an idealist, and I probably I like that sentiment that basically it always catches up to people, and that's a good sentiment. But at the same time, like with your story, it's an emotional. We kind of get your story as well. Like we're kind of the way there's a gray area to your story, meaning that we kind of get every side. There's the morals are present, but we don't. You're not telling us what to think, telling us not what to do. I guess, right?
Well, I'm glad that you feel that way. That was my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also, I just was looking for something that would have powerful performances.
Yeah.
So when I was searching, I was looking for something like that. And that's kind of why we chose those two pieces. But then while we were in post-production, we're like, man, this is very contemporary. Because even like, well, Garnet's mentioning, the whole thing about powerful people being exposed and the threat of coming to justice. But we've also got. I saw a meme the other day. It was saying we've had more people killed by the government through the MAID program in the first 3 months of this year than have died from gun violence in the U.S. This is the
cool.
assisted suicide, right?
Yeah.
So I was treading very softly. I didn't really want to do a piece on suicide because I didn't want just like I don't want to do anything with too much violence because I don't want people to think that I'm advocating it or I'm celebrating it. So that's why the performance where Graham, the character I play, when spoiler alert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we wanted to have it that how we deal with it is very with empathy
Yeah.
and a bit of a personal sadness that this is the state of affairs, that people think that having the government help them kill themselves is a future for them. I think that's really sad.
Yeah. A lot of people would agree with it though. If someone wants to kill themselves, they can kill themselves, right? Like they have that
Yeah.
freedom of choice, right? So it's like that's what I mean. Your film's is loaded with like kind of like everybody's got their own stand on things, right? But they're not.
Yeah, the
They're
characters
not
are
doing
very
the same
motivating.
thing. Yeah, we're following the characters, not your theme, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very character driven.
Yeah, and the characters they're individuals, so they're making their choices, not the writer. That makes sense. Yeah.
So I see that as being more of a European style film. You don't see that too much in mainstream North America. We tend to be more plot driven.
Yeah.
Which is probably, this will probably end up having a niche audience, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I think maybe the people that would go out and watch like Downton Abbey or something like that, they might get into this movie.
Yeah. No, but I think there's an audience there. I've been watching a lot of older movies, especially 70s, 80s, early 80s. They have these type of stories. They tell like Hollywood tells these type of stories, right? Where they're not telling everybody what to think and feel. They're just like, right? Yeah. All right. So Garnet, where did you meet Grant? What's your origin story with Grant?
Yeah, actually, I was running kind of a weekend club and in New West, and Grant was part of a live comedy group, an improv comedy group that we booked in, and they brought their group in, and they had these pre-filmed little, almost like Saturday Night Live comedy sketches in it, and they were
or like Kids in the Hall.
yeah, yeah, and they were so good, and I just thought, wow, like they're little. This was kind of before even YouTube was really
Yeah, this
kind
is
of
95.
yeah, and
Okay.
so they had these great little filmed clips, and that really connected us with what they were creating comedy wise, and we became friends after that. Always stayed connected, and you know, as kind of we moved and began, you know, getting involved creatively. But this would be our first major project together. But so we had
I was going to ask. So this is the first time you really worked together?
Well, no, I did production management on Garnet's first film called Lost Wilderness, but that was 2007.
yeah, about
Okay.
2000. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you and Garnet? What did you feel when Grant kind of proposed the script to you? What was your feeling about it?
Yeah, I thought it's a great idea because I'd been working with another director, producer guy who specialized in low budget, really fast made films.
Yeah,
So I was like 100%, yeah, you can do this. Even though it's quite challenging to turn films around. I think, we had seven days of shooting or eight um, to 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 complete this, and it was sort of like, yeah, it can be done. We just got to plan it in a way. It needs to be a special kind of film with lower location. So I'd already been experienced in kind of low budget and fast moving production, not to draw it out. And I thought, yeah, this it was exciting, and I liked that it was a different from the other kinds of films, like kind of more horror, kind of low budget sort of horror. And this was a real, sophisticated, more complex message, higher end, higher level cinematography. The actors had
gotcha.
that European vibe. So to me, it was going to be a fun challenge, and we dove into it. Yeah.
All right, so you had 7 days to shoot it, as you said. So let's talk about your cinematography then, because it's really well done. I can see you're kind of doing a lot of long shots though, but everything you kind of have these rooms and you're kind of. So talk about your working with your cinematographer. Have you worked with them in the past? Did you guys know each other well before you worked on this film?
Oh, maybe I could talk about that, Garnet. It's funny
Yeah.
because I had an old friend from my acting school days that I knew was in property management, and I called him up when we were going into pre-production. His name is Sage, and I said, Sage, you manage a bunch of properties in Vancouver, right? He says, yeah, hundreds. I'm like, I really need a couple locations with wood burning fireplaces, and they're so hard to find. He goes, I got you, I got you. But he said, hey, come check out this one house. It's a bit of a mansion in West Vancouver, but there's like 20 international people living there, all bunked together, and you're gonna have to win their favor if you're gonna shoot there. So we ended up going, not Garnet and I went to this party. We didn't end up shooting there. But at the party, we met this young man, Joel. And in this day and age, most people, oh, Joel, like they'll like go and Google him on the phone,
Yeah,
right? But I'm old school, and it's like I know what people tell me. And so I met him. Hey, oh, Sage is like, this is Joel. Joel, this is Grant and Garnet. Hey, how's it going? And at that point, I just needed some camera gear and a second cameraman. We'd already committed to one cameraman. And he's like, yeah, I got some gear. Oh, yeah. I'm like, well, we've already got, the camera A committed. Would you be okay doing camera B? Yeah, yeah, that's okay. Well, I had no idea who I was getting. Well, he's already directed 10 feature films himself.
okay.
But I'm just so clueless, right? I'm
Yeah.
just like, the hook.
Ignorance is bliss, right? So
I
yeah.
guess so, right? And he's so humble, you'd never know by his attitude that he, was way further along than I was. And in fact, Joel also has been running the largest Vancouver Film Festival for the last 10 years. It's called Run and Gun, where people get a weekend to come up with a script, shoot it, edit it. So he's one of the, founders of Run and Gun. So we get moving, we get working. He ends up calling me, "Hey, do you got this position filled?" "No, not yet." "Oh, I have somebody I can recommend. How about that?" And he kept like just bringing all this, wealth, experience and connections and gear,
Yeah.
and I just was able to take a deep breath. I was like, "Oh, thank God for Joel." And then when we got there, he was just pulling off just great work. And at that time, Garnet was sort of going to run, the cinematography. And I said to Garnet after a few days, Joel's really stepped up to bat, but you'd never know it by his attitude. Yeah, yeah. I think we should promote him to DP. Yeah, yeah. But let's wait till the end and then we'll promote him just in case. So He was a DP undeclared the whole time, but we just kind of let it our own private secret that we were going to promote him after. So in the cast, in the little after party, we're all around having a few beers, and we said Joel is the man. Yeah, we were really blessed with having Joel. He just he got best cinematography in Montreal last year.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. I could see it. Like it's like a like it's like I said, he's making it cinematic, right? I guess Garnet, I guess that's what your attention was in these scenes, like these I call them talkie scenes, right? Like the talkie scenes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you just want them lit in that, be more beautiful kind of way, capturing the moment. And with who, the guy doing that role, he was also the perfect candidate in that just the speed that you have to be willing to move at in order to hit
yeah.
number of pages per day. Because it was, I mean, how many pages was that script again? Like we were
Uh,
moving at such a fast clip
Yeah.
every
yeah,
day. And if, as a cinematographer, you're used to the old school where you could have all day to do lighting setups and stuff
Sure.
like that,
Yeah.
you just didn't have that, and you need someone who's comfortable working at that pace. And he was the perfect guy for exactly that.
yeah. I agree. Yeah, and we shot with two cameras. So we would get double the footage, so just different tightness,
Yeah.
different angle,
Yeah.
and well, we got shitload of footage, but
And that
yeah,
was the for those interested, is the Black Magic 6K that worked
Okay.
quite well in those kind of lighting
Times two. Yeah,
conditions.
two of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Black Magic workflow worked really well for us. Um, uh, just I don't. It was a good camera choice for
but
that.
we would let the scene roll, and we'd kind of play it out like we were in theater on the stage. So
Yeah.
like there were. I mean, this was a heavily edited footage, or sorry, a final cut. Like the original rough cut was much longer.
Yeah.
And like I can remember doing the scene with Julian, who plays Larry. We were shooting 24, 25-minute scenes, no cuts. And
Okay.
both cameras were just rolling on that the whole time. And then we'd
So you're,
stop, we'd
it's
redo
like,
it. And then the next day we'd go in and punch in and get more like close-ups,
yeah.
focus on certain key reactions, things like that. Or we do the reverses. Let's light the other side today. So long, long takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the way that it's like the way the script is, or so the way the film is that you don't want too much camera movement. You kind of like so it kind of works for how the style was, I guess, in the film. Like
Yeah.
it works. The script works for the story works for the way that was shot, meaning that like you didn't have to be too movie with the camera. You just kept it on on the actors.
Right.
That was my assumption.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me about the other actors. Where did you like you're so Grant, I'm assuming you were writing it and you're like, okay, I'm playing this role. Right?
Well, I
So,
wasn't going to.
okay.
I was gonna be happy to play the barber, but we couldn't figure out who to put into. We want, of course, we wanted somebody that would bring an audience,
Yeah.
but we were throwing this together so quickly that's like it could take 2 or 3 months to finally have settle with somebody and have them, and what are they going to ask for and what's that going to do to the
Yeah.
budget? And it just seemed better to just say, well, I can do this. Like, I've done, I've done acting before. I can do this. So then we were casting the smaller parts. And when Julian, who plays my brother, when we looked at everybody and the guy who from Vancouver that was leading the way, I watched so I'm doing the casting as well.
Yeah.
I'm watching his tape one night and I'm crying. I think this guy, this is it. He's the guy. And then I got Julian's tape and it was like head and shoulders above that guy. And I was like, how is this possible? But the elephant in the room was he clearly sounded like he's from France.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. He's from France. This was his first English role. So at that point, I'm like, do I go with what sounds more natural, or do I go with the one who brings the performance? So we decided to go with Julian. And then because I'm the writer, it's easy enough for me to just tweak the script. So we made it half brothers, same mother, different dads,
Yeah.
we visit each other in the summers, and we just sort of, you know, sprinkled some exposition throughout the script to sort of make it make sense. And I think people are accepting it.
Yeah. 100%.
And then with Anya, this was her first role. She got best acting debut for 2025 at the World Film Festival in Cannes, and she was just amazing. And of course, she's from Serbia, so it was perfect because we're looking for somebody who's an immigrant. So it worked really great, and all the other smaller parts were all local actors.
So, what tell me about you mentioned the post production. So, how long was the first cut? How many minutes was the first cut?
127 minutes.
Okay. So then then you just started tightening it up, I guess.
Well, I tightened it up and got it to like 124. I did a meeting with Joel and Garnet, and I showed them the film because I was also the editor.
Yeah.
And you could tell they thought it was too long, but they didn't know how to break it to me. So then we did a test screening in Easter of 2025, so roughly a year ago. And we rented out a very nice theater, a cinema in Vancouver called the Hollywood. And then I invited, I think there was 85 people that were in our warm market, friends or colleagues or somehow connected, that were filmmakers, writers, artists, left brain thinkers, right?
Yeah.
And we had them come and watch the movie, and then we put up the lights and we asked them to fill out a questionnaire. It was a 4-page questionnaire. Some people were sitting there 25 minutes filling it out for us. It was an awesome experience. I was very grateful for that. And I looked at all the notes. I compiled them over a week and kind of made a database. And I was looking for where do most people agree and where do
Yeah.
most people disagree. And where the agreement was, I thought, I better pay attention to this. There's a saying, in the multitude of counselors, there is wisdom. So I saw that one of the trends was that they said, yeah, I'd recommend it to a friend, you know, and I like this, and the but was just that some of the scenes were dragging.
Yeah.
And so I had no choice. I had to go back and cut. And I really cut out a lot. And we got it down to the 102 minutes that it is now.
That's great. Yeah, no, that's a really smart idea. Like, and it's like you said, what did you just say? Like, I sorry, I just lost your line there. It's a good line. The multitude of counsel is which is with the multitude of counsel.
In the multitude of counselors, there is wisdom.
There is wisdom. That is a good one. I like that because it's like, yeah, it's focus grouping, right? Like
Yeah.
people kind of poo poo that, but it's like there's something. If everybody's thinking it, then something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the reality is when distributors look at it, they don't care. They just care about the sales.
Yeah.
They
Well,
want
they want to cut it too. They
product.
use a lot of times they want to cut it a little bit too, as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And they're there to market it. And sometimes that ends up being a creative argument, which is why you see the director's cuts.
Yeah.
But no, any stage, I think, for any upcoming filmmakers out there, like, make sure to, sometimes you just want to rush it off. You're like, this is perfect. And you're not seeing the main thing that kind of the general crowd is, is you've been living with that story, you can lose perspective of it. Whereas that first impression from the crowd is often the most valuable. Yeah.
100%. So I want to ask you about the sound design too, because there's a nice subtle sound design. Who did that?
That was Joshua Peterman in Vancouver here. And then our sound mixer was Andrei Krupnik, who's actually a Russian that came from theater background in Moscow.
And of course,
Josh worked a lot on the sound design. Yeah.
yeah. And Gabriel, obviously, with his excellent score, was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gabriel
amazing.
was a diamond for us that we found almost by accident. And I couldn't think of anybody better to do our musical score.
Did you do that after the edit, after the rough cut?
Yeah, but as I was working with him, I had already hired him and was already
Okay.
showing him scenes, and we were talking about similar films. I told him I wanted. Well, I told even our act our actors, a lot of the people, not just Gabriel, that I wanted to kind of get it in a Chinatown vibe,
Okay.
um, which is a tall order, but yeah,
So people who are under 30, that's the movie from the 70s, not the area in big cities. Yeah.
yeah, the movie,
Yeah, the
the
movie.
award the award-winning film by
Yeah.
Roman Polanski.
Yeah. Jack Nicholson. Yeah. Okay. So you guys got lots of awards at festivals. You're doing well. It seems like you're kind of you're your tail end, one would assume, right? You're promoting it, talking to
Yeah,
me
well,
now.
we're coming up. May will be 1 year of international festivals. Yeah, and then we're hoping to take it to market.
I was going to say, so you guys are that's what you're thinking about, or you want to sell it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's the festival experience been so far? You got lots of awards. You mentioned it. What are your feelings about the festival experience?
Oh, it's been bittersweet. I mean, most of our awards are coming from, let's be honest, the more boutique festivals that are in their fourth, fifth, sixth year.
Okay.
You know, maybe the Montreal Festival is a bit more than 10 years. Um, and a lot of them are just doing them independent of us. Now, I did fly out to the south of France and received an award for my writing, and I received Anya's award for acting debut. That was stunning. I
Yeah.
asked Joel, who has lots of experience, when it comes to festivals, there's so many, like, where do you apply? And he goes, well, think about a place you want to go to. So I was like, well, south of France sounds amazing. And then when we found out um, we were nominated, I was like, should I go? I don't know. And the festival wrote me, and I was like telling them my dilemma. I mean, flying from Vancouver to Cannes is not, at the last minute. I had a week notice.
Yeah.
Um, I said it's kind of a big deal, and they said, well, we can't tell you whether you're a winner or not, but let's put it this way: we strongly urge you to get on a plane and
Yeah.
come. I'm like, thank you so much. I'm coming. And that was an amazing, amazing, rushed but cool experience. Some festivals, the one in Georgia was very impressive because they screened it in front of a live audience, and then they queried the audience for comments and feedback, and we got that, and we were like, wow, these people actually get this film. So that was pretty cool.
Cool. So you guys are now you're talking to me, and you guys are wrapping things up, and it's a good film. It's like I said, it's a solid film, and I won't say the budget, but I see it on your submission, and it's impressive. Let's just put it that way. You guys did a great job, and it's like you could tell there was like you, obviously the two of you, and then you had the cinematographer, sound designer, composer, obviously your other actors, but like all kind of key components, right? It wasn't too large, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
everybody did their job well,
Well,
right?
and there was lots of doubling up,
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, exactly.
Like at times Garnet was holding the boom to do
Yeah,
sound, or our
he's got
our
no ego, right? Why not?
our
Yeah,
coordinator was doing. We actually didn't even have an AD, if you can believe it.
yeah,
So we knew we were going to be in these small sets, and it was going to be close and intimate, and like the less people the better. I mean, there's that, plus there's also just, you save a lot of money when you've
yeah.
got a smaller crew, right?
If you get but then it's like you get to let those people like do their magic, do their creativity, right? So that's the art of it. All right, guys, congratulations on the film. The best of success to it, and it was great talking to you, both of you. And like I said, I'm not a Canadian homer usually because I'm a border kid, so I have this half. I'm like maybe 30% American, but basically I like when I see good Canadian films. Let's put it that way.
Great. And I
All right.
wanted very much to shoot it in Canada, but unfortunately, the death penalty hasn't been in Canada for a while, which is why we had to set it in Seattle.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, Seattle's a good town, right? So we just beat them in the playoffs last year, so it's good. So, all right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. And we'll
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
come let us know if you get out to Vancouver here. So
100% will. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.